What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Islam Makhachev's coach reveals game plan for fight. Heading into UFC 294, Islam Makhachev is looking to send Alexander Volkanovski back to the featherweight division for good. After picking up a narrow victory at UFC 284, Makhachev will be looking to capture a second win over Volkanovski when the two meet on short notice this coming weekend. Ahead of the fight, aka Coach Javier Mendez spoke about the lightweight champ's game plan after the short notice change in opponents while speaking with MMA Junkie.
Well, this is the thing, right? With Islam, he's so well-rounded, it doesn't matter. We can turn minute for minute, second for second. We can change whatever we want with him because he's going to be able to execute what strategies we want from him. So we don't have to specifically go for one person. He's well-rounded. You know, we have our game plan that we're coming in, and they have theirs, and let's see who prevails, you know. They're going to come in prepared. You know, you got to imagine the guy's already felt what it is like to go with Islam, okay? He has nothing to lose.
After a hard-fought 5 rounds at UFC 284, Volkanovski has plenty of respect for his opponent heading into the rematch. However, he knows that he can't show him too much respect once the octagon doors close behind them. While speaking with MMA Junkie leading up to the fight, he spoke about what he plans to do differently in the highly anticipated rematch.
But at the end of the day, you know, I need this one for me, right? I need this win back, and I want to do it in wild fashion, so there's pretty much no questions, especially coming off 12 days. Well, there's a few things. Obviously, I showed him a lot of respect, which he deserves that respect. But I mean, I could have backed myself a little bit earlier, where this time, at least I got to figure that out, because now it's perfect time and I can't afford to show him that respect. You know what I mean? I need to go out there and I need to go for the finish. I want to go there and finish him. Obviously, I feel like I can.
With the fight just days away, the stakes have never been higher for Volkanovski. Next up, let's take a look at Conor McGregor and Canelo Alvarez go back and forth. Conor McGregor and Canelo Alvarez may never compete against one another. However, the two men engaged in quite a heated feud over social media this week. Things started when the outspoken Irish superstar saw a post calling Floyd Mayweather's 2013 victory over Alvarez a master class, along with a series of highlights from the contest. McGregor responded writing, "One of the greatest performances in professional boxing this was. I landed more shots on Floyd than Canelo. I'd love another go." Canelo then responded, firing off a scathing shot at the former champ, writing, "I just need one hand with you, and I don't need to throw so many punches." McGregor then retaliated, referring to his wide range of skills compared to the boxer, writing, "Saul, you uncooked chicken. I'll stomp the ligaments out of your knee joint. I don't even need hands to end you. I'll kick you raw pink, leave you looking like you were left out in the sun too long, haha freckle arse. I will see you and we will see. Canelo is a cornflake, no sugar." As much as McGregor seems to be interested in a rematch with Mayweather and a showdown with Canelo, the Irish star is, of course, expected to make his return to the UFC next year to fight Michael Chandler, meaning that we'll likely never see either of the two bouts play out in the future. Next up, let's take a look at Jiří Procházka goes off on Alex Pereira before fight. The intensity is heating up between Alex Pereira and Jiří Procházka leading up to their UFC 295 clash in New York. While it's no secret that the fight will largely be contested on the feet, given the striking abilities of both men, Procházka recently took some shots at his upcoming opponent ahead of the bout. During an interview with CBS Sports' Jacques Majori, the former light heavyweight champ discredited the grappling abilities of the two-time Glory kickboxing champ.
I have to say, Alex is not good martial artist, like on the ground, on the wrestling, but one thing he can do. He know to do, and that's his striking. And it will be a pleasure to compete him, like in the stand-up.
Pereira has, of course, defended his grappling abilities in the past, stating earlier this year that the only people who doubt his abilities on the ground are those who've never grappled with him. Currently, the odds have Procházka sitting as a plus 114 underdog on DraftKings, while Alex Pereira sits as a negative 135 favorite, meaning that the MMA community is largely split down the middle with their predictions. With the fight rapidly approaching in November, it'll be interesting to see whether we get any grappling exchanges out of the two men, or they keep things on the feet. Now, let's shift gears and take a look at Khamzat refuses to predict fight against Kamaru Usman. While Khamzat Chimaev has never been short on confidence, he has no desire to call a shot ahead of his upcoming short-notice clash with Kamaru Usman at UFC 294 this weekend. After Usman stepped in on short notice for Paulo Costa, astute fans pointed to the former welterweight champ's record-setting takedown defense in the UFC, questioning whether or not the clash between Chimaev and Usman could end up playing out on the feet, much like Chimaev's clash with Gilbert Burns last year. While speaking in a virtual face-to-face with Usman for ESPN, Chimaev refused to give a prediction for the fight.
We're gonna give the prediction, man. Never gonna give. You can't give a predictions before the fight. Everyone says gonna do that, gonna this, that. In the cage, everything is going different way now. So that's why I never can give that. Was for the Gilbert Burns, like learn a lot of things. I always think one punch, they're gonna be down in my head. So the game play against you.
While Chimaev had no interest in making a prediction, bantamweight champion Sugar Sean O'Malley and his coach Tim Welsh weighed in on the fight while speaking on a recent episode of the Timbo Sugar Show, indicating that, on short notice, they believe Chimaev likely gets the job done.
This is the hardest fight he could take.
Usman.
Okay, Usman.
He's taking a fight at 185, short notice. This is probably one of the hardest fights he could have taken.
And he's talked about it before. His knees, how fucked up they are. You can't wrestle. Like, your knees are fucked up. You're not going to be wrestling a lot. You're just not. And Khamzat, big 185, giant 185.
3 rounds.
He's going to sprint at him and do the same.
3 rounds. God, if he can go out there and take him out early, that'd be crazy.
If it was a fight.
As Welsh stated, with a full camp, he would probably lean towards Usman. However, with the former champ stepping in on short notice, it's a whole other ball game. Next, let's take a look at UFC fight updates. Heading into a stacked night of fights this weekend, let's take a look at today's UFC updates, starting with the UFC signing Pooja Tomar, who is the first woman born in India to earn a contract with the promotion. Tomar is currently riding a 4-fight win streak, which most recently saw her defeat Anastasia Feofanova at Matrix Fight Night 12. So far, no date has been given for her first fight with the promotion. However, she took to Instagram writing, in part, "It marks a moment where anything is possible, no matter where we are from, because if I can get there, so can many of us." In other news, an upcoming UFC fight between Young Sung Park and Shannon Ross was reported, which will see the pair compete at UFC Shanghai on December 9th. The fight will see the undefeated Park look to make it 9 straight as he takes on the Turkish Delight, who's looking to snap a 3-fight skid that saw him lose on Dana White's Contender Series last summer, before then going 0-2 in the UFC in 2023. Last but certainly not least in the way of UFC updates, the UFC roster tracker has indicated that 8 fighters have been removed from the promotion's roster, including several notable names such as John Madesi and Andre Fialio. In addition, the promotion parted ways with Shane Young, Tucker Lutz, Kamuela Kirk, AJ Fletcher, Carl Deaton, and JP Buys, marking a massive roster purge, assuming they don't re-sign any of these fighters. Next, let's take a look at fighters suspended for using PEDs. Mayra Bueno Silva's recent submission victory over Holly Holm has now been overturned to a no contest after it was revealed that the streaking contender failed a pre-fight drug test. The failure has been attributed to an ADHD medication that Bueno Silva alleges she made USADA aware of prior to the test. However, the failure was deemed legitimate, with Bueno Silva receiving a retroactive 4.5 month suspension according to numerous sources. As such, she is unable to compete until November 29th and could very well wind up being passed up for a crack at the vacant bantamweight title next year after having her latest win overturned. So far, no word yet from the UFC on how the promotion plans to handle the vacant title. However, with Bueno Silva eligible to compete again next month, expect her to look to bounce back early next year. Next, let's take a look at shocking news after promotion shuts down. After 37 years in business, Showtime Boxing is no more. This week, Paramount made the decision to pivot and move away from boxing by announcing their plan to end Showtime's boxing and MMA broadcasting partnerships. The news also notably has big implications for the future of Bellator MMA, with Ariel Helwani reporting that the sale of the promotion could be expedited over the next few weeks. An email, which was sent to employees and relayed to ESPN, quotes Paramount CEO Chris McCarthy, who wrote, in part, Showtime will not be moving forward with boxing or other content produced by the Showtime Sports and Event Program team. Several notable boxers, including Ryan Garcia, were quick to voice their opinion on the matter, given Showtime's historical significance in the industry, with Ryan Garcia writing, in part, "Today is a really important day for boxing. HBO and Showtime defined our sport for a generation, and now they are both out." Terrence Crawford responded to Garcia, echoing his statement while pointing out that boxing is losing space in the combat sports industry, while other sports are thriving and increasing in popularity. With plenty of uncertainty around the future of boxing, it's clear that some of the biggest names in the sport are eager to work together to help build the sport's future amid a troubling time for the boxing community. Given the disdain Dana White has shown for Showtime Boxing, many are expecting White to share his reaction leading up to UFC 294 this weekend. Conor McGregor went off on Islam Makhachev after Islam sent a shot to John Jones. Here's what Islam had to say.
You know, this is what UFC champion have to do. Like a real champion. If you're real champion, you have to take fight, doesn't matter how many days, who is gonna be, not like your pound for pound champion when they give him Chael Sonnen. If you're real champion, you have to fight. They put him number one, the number one guy right now, who he beat last 5 fights. We don't have some name from top pound for pound rankings. And I just want to say about the rankings, about all these things, this is bullshit. I'm not full anymore.
Conor tweeted in response to that by saying, "This guy is a gumbean. This is what happens when cousins have sex and have a child together. This is the result." Top comments. Making weight for a certain weight division should mean that the fighter is at that specific weight range when he or she steps into the octagon, not just for show at the official weigh-ins or ceremonial weigh-ins. Can't remember anyone saying Conor was a weight bully when he looked like a ghost at weigh-in during the 145 days. Someone responded with, "That would require honor, and there's too much money involved for that." I first thought that weight bully was a thing, but after thinking about it, one has to take into account that the weight bullies almost die cutting all that weight, and I don't really care about that. Joe Rogan at one point called it cheating, but the thing is, I also don't know if they can come back full strength from cutting that weight. When Pereira got knocked out, one argument was that he fell so easy because of that brutal weight cut. Then look at Oliveira. But one has to be honest and point out Pereira and Oliveira both chose to fight at that weight, so I don't know. It probably really depends on how good the fighters can bounce back from cutting that weight. Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.